Hey, welcome to Leadership Live with Anton Gunn. It's great to be with you again. Today, I have a special industry topic that I want to talk about, and it's so timely. I literally planned this out maybe a month and a half ago to talk about this industry today, but there is actually something in the news that ties right in to what I want to talk about. So I want to jump right in and give you the opportunity to get some value today. I really want you to understand why people leave an organization and, most importantly, what you can do about stopping it. And what do I mean leave? I'm not just talking about the bad employee who you want to leave, but I'm talking about your top performers, your talent, the people who are the best of the best on your team. Why would they want to just leave you and go work for your competitor, or maybe just change industries altogether? So, my context for you, the way that I want to lay this out, we're going to talk about the technology sector today. So, when I say technology, I'm talking about, think about the technology that you use right now. So, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Apple, whether it's Microsoft, whether Netflix, you name any technological tool that you use. Like most of the apps on your phone are technology based companies. They're not brick and mortar or product based companies who just developed an app. They're a company that probably came to fruition because they're technology based. And the technology industry has a lot of terms that it uses over and over again. I'm going to say some terms that I know you're probably familiar with. Have you ever heard the term breach or cybersecurity issue or incident or hack? These are all terms that we know synonymously when we talk about cyber security or we talk about technology companies. Technology companies don't want hacks. They don't want breaches. I mean, like, how many of you literally have gotten an email from some organization in which you do business with, that it's AT&T or it's Equifax or somebody else saying that we have had a breach and now your personal and private data is now on the dark web somewhere? I'm telling you right now, I get an alert probably once a week saying that somebody's found my email address on the dark web, or saying that they found my cell phone number on the dark web or something, right? So we got to buy all of these other apps to lock our credit, protect our credit, et cetera, et cetera. Now, what am I saying to you? I'm saying that we all use these technology companies and we all don't want a breach. We don't want anybody accessing our stuff, but we know that it happens all the time. But today, I want to talk about the biggest breach in the technology sector that nobody is talking about, and they're definitely not doing the right things about it. And that breach is their top level employees are leaving those companies and going to work somewhere else. Some of them are just going home and doing nothing, but others of them are leaving to go work for their competitors. They're leaving in droves, and they're leaving for a lot of reasons. So today, I'm going to give you the 3 reasons why people are leaving the technology sector. So if you know someone who works in tech right now, you probably want to share this with them and see if they can co-sign on what I'm about to say. If you are an HR leader or an executive or a people manager in a company, I want you to tune in right now and pay attention to not only the 3 reasons why people are leaving you, but I'm going to give you 3 strategies that you can implement right now to slow that bloodletting of your top talent and also create a culture where they want to stay. Like, we need these technology companies to be successful. I mean, like, our lives are so integrated with technology now. If think about, I'm going to name you maybe 3 tech companies that if they went under right now, it would be a serious disruption to the entire United States and probably the world. Here's one: Microsoft. Microsoft is so integrated in our lives that most of us use a Microsoft application every single day. Sometimes it's Word, sometimes it's PowerPoint, Sometimes it's Excel. I mean, we all have built an Excel spreadsheet or looked at an Excel spreadsheet. But imagine if that company went away right now. How would most businesses operate? It would be a struggle. A second company, if it went away right now, it wouldn't be impossible, but it would be a serious inconvenience to all of us. A second technology company is Instacart. Now, some of you may not know Instacart, and if you don't know Instacart, you probably still getting up and driving to the grocery store every week and buying all your groceries yourself, standing in line, checking out, and going home. But for me and my household, we use Instacart. Sometimes we use Instacart for them to shop for us and we just go pick up the groceries and they bring it out to our car. Or other times they deliver it right to our door. It changed our life in the pandemic to make it easy for us busy people to not have to run to the grocery store every day, but to schedule it in a way that your groceries show up at home. That would be an inconvenience for me. May not be for you, but I'm just telling you it is for me if they went away. A third tech company, and I'm just going in and put it on Front Street. It's a lot of people who use their products and services, but if they went away right now, it would be a problem. And that is Apple. Now, for all of my Droid phone people, I ain't talking to you because you chose a inferior product, and I chose a superior product in Apple. No, I'm just making jokes to all of my Android green bubble friends. But I'm telling you right now, between my iPad, the MacBook that I'm using right now to do this live video with you, to my iPhone, to my AirPods, to all of the other tools and resources that I use in business, if Apple went away right now, it would be a problem. So I want Apple, I want Instacart to keep their top employees. I want Microsoft to keep their top employees. But I'm telling you right now, they're losing them. Like if you know anybody in the tech sector right now, go look at their resume and see what is the average tenure that they have spent at a company. I bet it's no more than 5 years before they moved on to somebody else. They're leaving in droves. Why are they leaving in droves? Here are the 3 reasons why. Reason number 1 is burnout and work-life balance. See, burnout and work-life balance is disproportionately hitting the tech sector and has been for the last 5 years. And I'm not talking about just growth. And so because you're growing, you got busier at work. I want you to recognize that when the global pandemic of 2020 hit and all of us were stuck at home, if you didn't have a Netflix account, you got a Netflix account. If you didn't use Instacart, you use Instacart. If you didn't buy a lot on Amazon, you were scouring the earth looking for toilet paper on Amazon and trying to get it shipped to your house. You were using everything more from a technology standpoint. And because we all were at home using more technology, the Apple TVs of the world, the Primes of the world, everybody got bigger. And they needed more team members, more staff members working around the clock on those applications, providing those services, doing all of the things that they do. So they began this around the clock work schedule. And this level of burnout started to grow significantly for people. Significantly. And so those employees were burning the candle at 3 ends, not both ends, but 3 ends. They burning it in the middle too. And that burnout became real, people. They just got exhausted, truly exhausted. And so the term work-life balance was non-existent because we were all at home. And so literally your commute time was 30 seconds from the bedroom to the kitchen table, from the bedroom to the home office if you got one, from the bedroom to the couch, or maybe you didn't even get out of the bed. You just reached over and picked your laptop up off the floor and you started working and troubleshooting customer service issues. And I'm talking to the people in the tech sector. So the number one reason why people are leaving is because they've been burning out and they're tired, they're exhausted. They just want some change. They want to be able to breathe. They want to be able to relax and be like other folks and work a 9 to 5, have my weekends for myself, not have so many projects that I got to deliver them. Like I told you last week about the banking industry who is having some challenges. I will tell you that I met with a team. Oh, excuse me. I met with a team of people who literally were in the banking industry, but their job was technology focused. So this was the IT team in a bank who is working around the clock on a project to upgrade their loan management system. So again, whether it's the tech sector or whether it's tech employees that work in another industry, they literally are burning the candle at both ends. And this tech team that was working on this new loan system, I heard stories around people who literally were in the office 12 to 14 hours a day, went home, logged online to continue their work. And they were clocking some 18, 20 hours of work on a technology project. So I want you to think about that. That's burnout at its highest level. That's one of the reasons why people are leaving the tech sector. The top talented people, the people that you can't afford to lose, are leaving because of burnout and workplace or work-life balance. The second reason why people are leaving the tech sector is the rapid technological changes that are happening. See, the only thing that is a constant in the technology sector is change. You can guarantee that everything is going to change within 12 months. But to be honest with you, everything is changing within sometimes 12 weeks. I mean, think about everybody that uses generative AI right now. We weren't using generative AI 2 years ago. It is bad. It is getting worse with the rapid level of change. And so there's some people who had great jobs coding, doing AI work 2 years ago, but now generative AI is taking their jobs and they're feeling like that they can never catch up. They can never stay above on the technology. They got to learn something new every day, but they don't have time to learn new because, again, I told you before, they're being burnt out. They have no work-life balance. They got too much to do. So they don't even have time to take a course, take a class to boost their skills so they can be prepared to innovate and stay at work. And so they're on this treadmill or hamster wheel that they can never catch up with the technology, that they always got to learn something new, and they're falling further and further and further and further behind. And it feels like they're drowning because they can't keep up and they want to breathe too. So they're deciding to get off of the hamster wheel. They're deciding to leave the industry altogether. They want to break. They want to go somewhere where I'm proficient in my work, that I know what I'm doing is the right thing, and that, yes, I can help to steer the change rather than the change steering me. That's what innovation is steering the change. And when you can bring new ideas to work and innovate how you do things, you got time to test, fail, and to bring it in. That's one thing. But the innovation is happening to them, not for them. And that's causing a level of exhaustion that people are not sustaining. They're ready to leave, they're ready to quit, and they're walking out the door. Your top talent is walking out of the door because of the rapid technology changes. Now, here's a third reason why people are leaving the tech sector. And it's this term called cultural misalignment. That you went to work for a place because you love the tech. I mean, there's a lot of people, to be honest with you, that want to work for certain tech companies because they use the technology. Like, I would love to do leadership development training for Netflix because I watch a lot of programming on Netflix. I would love to do leadership development work for Apple because I'm an Apple snob. I use Apple products for almost everything. So I would love to do work for the tech company that I get some value in. And some people have chosen to go work at those tech companies that they get value in. But here's what happened. They went to the company, started working there, and saw the other side of the coin. They didn't see the shiny, nice logo and the nice stuff that pops on our screens of our phones that we enjoy. They saw the awful backbiting, hate, divisiveness, cutthroatness, dog eat dog culture that's on the other side. And I know this because I know plenty of former Apple employees who told me how toxic their teams were. They told me it's still a great company. I love the company. I'm going to keep using Apple products, but the team I was on is toxic. They don't want to stay there. So I'm telling you right now that this cultural misalignment shows its head very quickly. And you know who it shows its head for faster and more importantly, more times than not for people? And that is the employees of color. I'm talking about your employees that fit some definition of diversity. It could be of color, it could be gender diverse, it could be sexual orientation diverse, all kinds of diverse people get on the other side of the curtain and don't feel welcome, don't feel valued, don't feel included, don't feel supported in the company. And I've had them tell me stories about how they were treated in the workplace. I mean, I didn't mention Facebook, but we all know enough stories about employee stuff going on at Facebook that you can just Google it and see all of the stuff that has happened. I mean, it's not just them, but it's a lot of companies. So there you have it. That cultural misalignment makes people want to leave. 3 reasons: burnout, work-life balance. Number 2, rapid changes, and cultural misalignment. Now, I'm going to give you a real-time example of where this is happening right now. I'm going to give you 2 examples, actually. The first one is a gentleman who stays in the news more than a politician. His name is Elon Musk. Now, we all know Elon Musk, and we think he founded Tesla. He actually didn't found Tesla at all. He bought Tesla. Tesla was a company that already existed when he came and took it over. Elon Musk owns Tesla. He also owns Twitter. Now, Twitter is no longer called Twitter. It's called X. But Elon Musk took over those companies, and they have had problem after problem after problem after problem. And the top talent at those companies have pieced out. I remember reading about a major lawsuit at Tesla in California where African-American employees were routinely called the N-word at work. So much so that they filed a class action type lawsuit about their treatment in the workplace. That is a Elon Musk owned company. And we also remember when he bought Twitter last year, or maybe it was a year before, when he bought Twitter, how he fired a lot of people. That's number 1. But number 2, he sent out a memo saying that if you don't want to work hard here and work long hours, you should just leave now. Like, can you imagine that? Your boss coming in telling you, if you don't want to work long hours, if you don't want to work extra here, then you should just go ahead and pack your stuff right now. Well, that's what he did. And you know who left? The top employees left. That's who rolled out. So that's company number 1. Not really company number 1. That's Elon Musk, 2 of his companies where people have literally run out the door. Now, he's got some other companies like SpaceX and others that may not be having the exact challenge, but I know he's not intimately involved in what's going on at SpaceX. He has some competent leadership who's running SpaceX. But I know at parts of Tesla in their operations and also Twitter, he created an environment that people were burning out. The technology changes were already there, and they found the cultural misalignment because they don't want to work for a leader who doesn't share their values. That's the bottom line. Now, let me give you the other company that is in the news today in the last 24 hours, and that is Amazon. Amazon's CEO just sent out a memo to all employees, and I actually got a copy of the memo. I read it word for word, the full memo that was sent to all employees at Amazon. And there's a couple highlights in the memo that I want to lay out to you that I think will speak to why there's such a breach of high-level talent leading the technology sector and going somewhere else. The first part of the memo was that he talked about that Amazon had too much bureaucracy and that they needed to reduce the bureaucracy. That sounds like a good thing, right? To reduce the bureaucracy. Well, the thing that you can read between the lines around reducing the bureaucracy is that they're going to reduce their head count. They're going to lay off employees. So imagine if you read an email from your CEO, you read an email from your executive that says, we got too much bureaucracy. We're going to do some things to flatten the organization. Well, when anybody says flatten the organization, that's less management roles and more frontline staff. Less management and more frontline staff. So if you are a leader who is in management and you get that memo, your boss has basically said to you, your CEO has basically said to you, some of y'all not going to be here a year from now. So do you want to get laid off, or would you rather leave on your own terms and go work somewhere else? I don't know many people who just want to sit around and wait for the layoff to come. They're going to start looking for another gig right now by getting that memo. And some of them will be your top performers, because if you haven't communicated to your top performers that, hey, you're not going anywhere. We need you. We value you. You're the best on the team. We're not going to let you go. If they haven't had those individual conversations long before that memo got sent out, you best believe some of the top talent is going to beat you to the punch. I'm not going to let you get me before I get you. So I'm going to leave you high and dry and go find another job. That is what's going to happen inside of this Amazon memo. That's point one. Now, here's point number two of why people are really going to leave. And this is going to bring me to the three things you can do to retain your talent. The second part of that memo said that Amazon is returning to a 5-day in the office work week. They were at 3 days, but now they're returning to a 5-day in the office work week at their corporate offices. Now, I know some of you thinking, well, that can't be a bad thing. And others of you are thinking, that's crazy. Well, I'm on both sides of the coin. And let me tell you why I think it's crazy before I tell you what might be good about it. What's crazy is that the world is now different. The global pandemic of 2020 has changed the equation for companies and for employees. Let me be clear. Every employee doesn't want to work in the office 5 days a week, and have figured out how to be productive without being in the office 5 days a week. They know how to get their work done, be productive, highly valuable, add to the company, and not miss their kids' soccer game, and be able to go to church on a regular basis, and be able to take vacation time, and to be able to stay at home with their kids. They figured out how to do both. And they don't need to be in the office 40 or 50 hours a week to do it. And so those employees know that I got a good job, I got a good thing going, but most importantly, I got a good life going. And I don't want to get rid of my good life to go back into some office cubicle for 5 days a week. Because that was the other subtext, is that the CEO said, we're going to make it so that no more flexible office, no more swing spaces, that we're going to assign you to an area with your team and you're going to work there 5 days a week in your cubicle. We're going to have the real estate division put everybody back into little pods with their teams, and that's how we're going to work. Some people recognize that that is crazy to do, to try to say to people, you got to go back into the box, when the box has been broken irrevocably because of the pandemic for most employees, even in the corporate office. The box is broken. And we also have a whole generation of workers who are graduating college now and coming into the workplace who are literally saying, bro, my job, I ain't interested in climbing the corporate ladder. I'm not interested and being in the box all day. I want to live my life. I want to enjoy life. I'm happy to make a decent salary, but I'm not trying to be CEO or the director of marketing or the director of operations or the chief HR officer. I want to support the employees. I want to save the planet, and I want to make a decent wage. That's their calculus for new employees. And so when you say go back into the office 5 days a week, they're looking at you like, man, I'm going to go work somewhere else that doesn't have a 5-day work week policy, that has a 3-day work week policy, or some that may have 2-day work week. And depending on your role, you don't have to come into the office at all. So overwhelmingly, Amazon is making a mistake. They're not building this the right way. They're not getting people back, at least not for all employees. So let me give you the flip side of the coin, why I think this 5-day work week might be good for a small, select group of employees. That small, select group of employees are what I would call your senior leadership group. At Amazon, they call it the S group or the S team. These are senior people who report to the CEO. If you want to be in the C-suite, you better have your butt in the office 5 days a week. You know why? Because the decisions don't get made remotely. They get made when teams come together to have discussions about the big challenges, about the innovation, and the things that you need to do as a company. So if you desire to be in the C-suite, you probably need to be at work 5 days a week. Because sometimes you got to understand that out of sight is out of mind. That if I don't see you contributing, then I don't think you're a contributor. If I don't see you in the strategic meeting or the strategic conversation around this new project and this new framework, then I'm never going to see you that way. And so if you want to be a value-added leader at a high level, you got to be in the office. That's a small group of people. Those are the people who are so salaried that they don't clock hours. They don't think about hours like that. They think about strategically, how do we drive the company forward? This should be a small group of people. You shouldn't let them burn out either. You shouldn't let innovation overtake them either. And you should make sure that these are the ones who are setting the positive culture in the organization. That's a small group. But for everybody else, going into the office 5 days a week sounds crazy, especially in 2024. We can't go back, bro. We can't. It's not possible. And if you go back, it might be possible for the short term, but it will start to negatively impact your company when your top employees realize that there's somebody who has their same role in another company that doesn't require them to be in the office for a full week. Like I know some Google employees that in the pandemic, they moved from San Francisco to Hawaii because it was better air quality and they needed the beach and the ocean. They were able to balance their life. And they're not moving back to San Francisco. They're not. And so when Google said, you got to come back to the office, you know what this person did? They quit. I know some tech employees who were living in New York City, working in New York City, in Manhattan, doing all of the stuff that they do. The pandemic hit and they were working from home and they realized their apartment was smaller than a prison cell, a small studio with 4 walls. And then guess what? After being home for a year, those walls got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And then they realized, you know what? I'm doing my whole job here remotely. So I'm going to leave. Some of them moved to Australia. Some of them moved to Charlotte. They moved to Los Angeles. They moved to other places. They moved to Greenville, South Carolina. Just left the big city to come to the South where they can get more stretch out space, still do their jobs, and have a good life. That's why we can't go back. So if you're struggling with talent leaving your organization, I'm going to give you 3 quick things that I need you to do right now, action-based stuff that you can do right now if you want to slow down the bleeding and the breach of talent out the back door of your tech company. Number 1, you need to embrace flexibility. And when I say embrace flexibility, this is what I'm going to encourage companies to develop. I'm going to use a non-technology company and a company in the fast food industry to explain what you should be doing. And that company is Burger King. Burger King has a tagline, or had a tagline, that says, if you come to Burger King and you order a hamburger or a Whopper or whatever it is they sell, you can have it your way. You tell me what you want on it, and you tell me what you don't want on your burger. That I will make it customized to you, that you could have it your way. Not you're going to get it all the same way, but you can have it your way. So if you want to embrace flexibility, you want to stop your talent from leaving, you got to develop a have it your way mentality about employee work arrangements. And I would call it the work the way you want policy. Let people figure out what are their peak productivity hours. What are their peak engagement hours? How do they actually deliver on their work? And let people schedule what works for them. Work your way. If you do that, you're going to get employees who are happier. They're going to feel like they can breathe. They can feel like they can manage life, that they can manage all of the things that they need to do and still deliver for you. They're going to be productive. I'm telling you, if you got a culture where you have attracted the right talent, the top talent, you will have people who will be more productive because you told them that they can work the way they want, when they want. Believe me, you might think I'm sounding crazy, but I'm telling you, this is a new way of the work world. You got to give people the flexibility to get it done the way they need to get it done. Now, here's the second thing that you need to be doing as a company. And I see the comments on fire right now about all of this. And I'm so glad that y'all are engaging, but you need to share it with people. The third thing second thing I want you to focus on is that you need to really focus in on continuous learning and development for every employee. You got to invest in continuous learning and development for every employee. And what do I mean by that? I told you the biggest challenge is technology changes so rapidly that people can't keep their skills up. They don't know enough. What they knew yesterday is irrelevant today. What they learned 6 months ago has been hacked by somebody else or innovated by somebody else, and they're behind. So you got to invest in continuous learning and development. And I'm telling you, as a leadership development speaker, as someone who speaks and helps to develop your leaders in an organization, I know growth and learning cannot stop. You got to continue to grow as a leader, and your whole organization needs to continue to grow. So you need to invest in learning and development. You need to develop what I call a next level skills academy, where you teach people the next level technology skills that they need, the next level leadership skills that they need, the next level team building and cultural skills that they need. You got to teach all kinds of skills, because if you create that kind of environment, your top talent is going to say, you know what? They invested in me. They really care about me. They want to help me to be successful. So I'm not going anywhere because I've been able to take advantage of learning and development. The problem that most company has right now is that they cutting back on learning and development. They think that it's optional. It ain't optional. It's not optional. This should be the most important part. Let me just be clear. The best companies in the world are training and development organizations masquerading in their core business. I want you to hear that again. The best companies in the world are training and development organizations masquerading in their core business. Let me give you an example. Chick-fil-A. We all see Chick-fil-A. We know it's a fast food franchise. We know that they sell more in one day than all the other restaurants combined do in 7 days. We know all of these things, right? But you know why? Because Chick-fil-A invests in training and development for their people. I had a friend whose daughter went to go work for Chick-fil-A. You know, she was in training for 2 full weeks before they let her go into a store. She was in an office building, sitting in a cubicle in a training class for 2 weeks. They paid her for 2 full weeks of work before she even went into a store to serve their first customer. Now, how many of you spend 2 weeks training your employees before you let them start doing their job? Or do you do employee orientation in one day, and then day two, you throw them right into the mix and expect them to be productive? It don't work like that. You got to invest in training and development, continuous learning and development for your people. And I'd be happy to help you develop your leaders in your organization, but I don't code. I don't build websites and mainframes. I got people who can help me with that, and I can introduce you to people who can help you to do that. But when it comes to your leaders and how they lead in the organization, the stuff that I'm teaching right now, you can call me for that. I can give you my phone number if you want to, but you can just hit me in the DMs. I'll be happy to help. Okay, so let me keep moving. That's the second thing, is you got to invest in continuous learning and development. Then the third thing, and this is going to be hard for you, and one that I think I am predisposed for a whole mission-driven life to help companies with this. And that is, you have to build a purpose-driven culture where diversity and inclusion is at the core. Why am I telling you to do this? Is because so many companies have value statements. Their values are on the wall. Like if I asked you right now to type into the chat or type into the comments, what are your company's values? Do you know them? I'm going to tell you right now, most of you don't know your company's values. You've never seen them. You think you know what they are. You're going to put down your personal values, but you may not know the company's values. But some companies have their values posted on the wall when you walk in the office, or when you fill out the application, or when you go to the website. Our values are trust, integrity, innovation, compassion, teamwork. They will say those values. They might have 5 values. But here's the question that I want to ask you, and the reason why you have this problem is, are you living those values with how you treat and engage people? Like if you tell me that you have the value of compassion, but people got to go through a 12-month trial by jury process to get 2 weeks off during sweeps week, and I'm talking about the TV industry. Like everybody knows sweeps week is the most important week in TV, right? When they measure the ratings, right? But if you literally say, I want to take time off during sweeps week, you can forget it. You might as well just go ahead and quit, because you're going to get fired if you try to leave during sweeps week. So my point is, a lot of companies have these values and say that they live by the values, but the employees completely don't see the values showed up manifesting in the workplace. They don't see them at all. So you might have these stated values, but you haven't built a culture that is purpose-driven on living out those values. You might have the value of customer service, but the employees say, well, I'm your number one customer because I show up here to work every day. I even buy my own products. And you're going to treat me like crap at work, but then tell me to deliver excellent customer service? That's misalignment. You're going to tell me that you value diversity, but I don't see anybody that looks like me above a manager level. You're going to tell me that you value inclusion, but I'm always the last to know about the changes that are going on around here, and I had no chance to give input. I'm telling you, your employees are seeing through that your culture and values don't align. They don't align. So here's what you need to do. You need to create a values and culture task force. That's right. A cross-section of frontline, mid-level, and senior employees on a task force to find out if your values match how you treat people every day at work. You need to put a task force together to look at how diverse are you from top to bottom? How inclusive are you from top to bottom? If you really want to stop your top talent from leaving your organization and going to work for somebody else, you need to embrace these 3 strategies. Number 1, build in some flexibility in how people work, a work the way you want policy. Number two, invest in continuous learning and development by creating a next level skills academy for your employees. And number three, you need to build a purpose-driven culture where diversity and inclusion is at the core. And you start by creating a task force of values and culture. You do those three things, you will start to uncover what you need to do to stem the tide of losing your top talent to your competitors or losing your top talent to a new industry. Like, that's one of the biggest phenomenons now is that people have spent 20 years in the tech sector and are going to education, 20 years in healthcare and they're going to banking, 20 years in banking and they're going to healthcare. I mean, like, people are just like up and leaving their industry to go work somewhere else. You need to slow that down because without a top talented team, you won't be successful and productive, and you're going to lose customers. You're going to lose market share. You're going to lose revenue. You're going to lose everything. You might even lose your job for poor performance because you don't have the people to get the work done because y'all didn't invest in the strategies that kept your top people working there. So I want to thank you all for watching this session today called High Tech, Low Touch. Our tech industries are high tech, but they're low touch. I wanted to call this out of touch, but I didn't want to go that far. I would just say low touch. You're not in touch with what's going on with your workforce. And I wanted to give you this value. So if you want more content like this, check out my blog, antongunn.com/blog. I wrote about this. I posted a blog. It is right there for you. It'll give you some great value on it. And then on top of that, if you feel like I could add value to you or your company by sharing this type of message, this type of content, these type of strategies, I want you to feel free to reach out to me. You can go to antongunn.com, click on Contact Anton, and we will get back to you and explore how we can help you retain your top talent, stay in touch, reduce burnout, and build a kind of culture where none of your top people want to quit. I want to thank you for watching this episode of Leadership Live with Anton Gunn, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Everybody have a fantastic day.